ADOS is everywhere. Cut the check.
So I'm listening to a conversation between Mysonne and Akon, in which Mysonne is pretty much going in on Akon, chastising him for associating with and doing music with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Now, I have my own opinion on popular culture's response to Tekashi 6ix9ine, in particular, those of us who call ourselves part of the hip-hop culture, even those who are guests inside of the culture. Everybody has an opinion about Tekashi. The most boisterous opinions are those who consider him a rat. Okay, so this is the basis of Mysonne and Akon's conversation. Akon is giving his defense for reaching out doing work with 6ix9ine, and Mysonne has a problem with this. He said that Akon doesn't have moral fiber. He lacks moral fiber, that he's out here in these streets looking crazy pretty much within the culture. However, you know, when I saw the conversation taking place between Akon and Mysonne, and the title was something about Mysonne checks Akon, or whatever the case may be, Mysonne checks Akon. So I thought that it was going to be in relation to Akon's recent statements about slavery and black Americans, American descendants of slavery, in which he, on Vlad TV, in which he expressed his desire for African Americans or American descendants of slaves to just let it go. Slavery, that is. And this was after he pretty much explained how, although he was born here in the States, he almost lied in the Vlad interview. Vlad asked him, was he born in Africa? And he said, yes. Then Vlad said, hold up, wait a minute. Were you born here in the States or were you born in Africa? And then Akon pretty much explained the grift, which he explained, well, my dad, and this is Akon speaking, well, my dad made sure that we were all born here in the States, me and my siblings. And then we were immediately transported back home to Senegal, where he was raised until around the age of 8, and then brought back to the United States to finish grade school on in through high school, in which every summer him and his family made vacation trips back to Senegal every summer. So this is a man whose lineage hasn't gone through the lived experience of ADOS, American descendants of slavery. Your family just got here recently and they came here voluntarily, probably on a 747 jet. So I felt it was very insensitive to dismiss African Americans' attachment to slavery, be it mental or otherwise, because the remnants are ever present. You know, we were freed from bondage in 1863, but we continue to be pushed down to the bottom. We continue to be exploited, and we continue to be abused and taken advantage of at most every turn. Throughout the late 19th century, throughout the 20th century, and even on into the present day in 21st century America. So that was the conversation that I thought Mysonne would be having, since he is, you know, considered himself an activist these days, not pretty much associated with the streets, although that's where he's from, and that's the cloth that he's cut from. I know Mysonne has done time in prison and, you know, has lived to tell about his experiences. Enough respect to that brother on that note, because me and him have much of the same background. However, these days I'm less concerned about whether your favorite rapper is a snitch or whether your favorite immigrant rapper is respecting the culture, and that is American descendants of slave culture. So that's what I'm more concerned about. Tekashi 6ix9ine snitching. You know, snitching is never honorable, but when I looked at the case with Treyway and 6ix9ine, and I realized that the police and the feds had already been on those guys. They had already had confidential informants on that case. They already had people wearing wiretaps in that case, giving them video footage, audio footage. So considering how things ended between Tekashi and the Treyway gang, we decided to roll over on those guys. Then that's what it is. 80% of inmates are probably in some form or fashion cooperating with police. So that's neither here nor there to me at this point in time. I'm way past that. I'm more concerned about people respecting the culture, especially those who have profited off that culture. And if you're an African or Senegalese immigrant whose dad made sure that you were born here only to take advantage of birthright citizenship, then you're really gonna have to tread lightly and respect the culture, just as the same way you want somebody to respect your culture. Somebody called you an African booty scratcher when you were a kid. That's what kids do. You know, kids joke on each other, kids bag on each other. Kids can be very ruthless when it comes to ranking or playing the dozens or however you want to call that. So you cannot let that color your entire experience, or you cannot hold that grudge into adulthood and allow that to cause you some sort of animosity or hold on to some sort of grudge when you definitely have come here and profited off of black culture. Rap music in particular. So that was just my take on the situation. You know, I was just like, wow. I was kind of surprised that Mysonne would press him so vehemently about that issue while totally leaving the issue of the dismissal of our history, leaving that completely out of the conversation. So yeah, that would have been, if I could get that Akon in the room right now, that would be the conversation that I would have. You know, maybe, you know, there's another side to his story that he wasn't able to tell in the moment. So I would like to hear him expound on the premise that American descendants of slavery need to somehow forget about that legacy and in turn forget about the debt that is owed, period. So this is Bill Money. I'm signing off. Thanks for watching this video. If you've gotten to this point, please hit that like button and please subscribe, and also share this video on your social media.